Sharon, your sound is off.
Oh, okay. I'll put record on my computer. Please request recording permission from the meeting hosts. Okay.
Sharon, we can't hear you.
Oh,
Hard to tell, Dave's
she's in silhouette.
from Joe.
Okay. So now, Sharon, looks like your sound's been turned off.
I did that so that I wouldn't give you an echo.
Oh, okay.
But I'm having trouble making you the host, David, but you should still be able to share.
Okay.
Because I've changed it so anybody can share, not just the host. Huh.
Practice yesterday, it worked.
Yeah, somehow or other you had it yesterday, so I could be the host, but.
Try sharing your screen, Dave, and let's see if it'll work without it, because I just don't know why it's not doing that.
Okay, let's see. Here we go. Share. And okay, does everybody see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so destroy a brick wall, then fly away to Scotland and Germany. That's what the story, the whole program's going to be about, or most of it.
Wait, maybe if I go to more? Let's see here.
So I will put my, yeah, okay. So now also I want to get this out of the way. Let's see. I'll put that over here someplace. Okay. And let me see if that.
I don't want to pull here. We've been in here.
I want to this and video. Did I pin the video yesterday, Sharon, or what?
You don't need to, as long as you're sharing.
Okay.
You pin the video, I think you'll just see you and your screen, and you wanted to see everybody.
Well, it's, you know, that's fine, as long as people can respond or ask questions or whatever. So I tried to, let's see. Yeah, okay. I tried to say record, but now it doesn't show me the record button anymore.
I'm recording, so I can just send it to you after the meeting. All right?
Okay, very good. Now this, see, I wanna.
It bumped me off of the one in the kitchen.
It did? Okay, well, you can have this one then. I came up here so there wasn't a sound problem.
Hide self view. If I hide self view. Oh, okay. Self view, okay. Oh, and then this up here. Let's see. Hide thumbnail video. Show small. Show grid video. Let's see. Okay, I see Susan there. Now, Susan, if you want to, you have your speaker turned off.
Hello,
Oh, hello. Where are you coming from, Susan?
I'm in Maine on an island, Little Deer Island, Maine, but I usually am in Massachusetts.
Oh, but you're right in Maine right now?
Yep.
Oh, fantastic. And what island did you say?
Little Deer Isle. It's up near Acadia National Park.
Oh, yes, Deer Isle, you said, I think. Oh, yeah, okay, it's a beautiful area. Yes, yes. Okay. Showing some video. What's that? I don't know what that is. Okay. Small active speed the video. Okay. There we go. That's good. How did it come now? Okay, now let's see. Wait a minute now. View. Okay.
Oh, do you want to turn this one on? Okay.
Oh, okay. So view. Okay, there you go.
Send a picture of our sunshine.
What I'd like to do is to make this smaller. Okay. Okay, so are we ready to go?
Dave, I will give everybody a little bit of time. It's still 5 minutes to 1,
Oh, okay, okay. My clock says 1, so okay, I'll wait another 4 or
right?
5 minutes.
Is our clock slow? Ours, this one says 12:57, and the one in the kitchen says 5 minutes of.
It's,
All right,
it's
so we'll wait another 3 or 4 minutes.
It's
I don't want anybody to miss this great show.
It's still 12:57, David. It's on the computer. That's correct.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, it is. Okay, good. All right. So anyway, I have my Find the Grave profile on the page. And I guess can everybody see that Find the Grave profile?
I think right
I
now
see.
what I have is a profile of all the folks who are on.
no, Mom, you have.
I see the PowerPoint presentation.
Oh, here's Ruth from New Jersey.
Yeah, still in New Jersey.
Hello.
Oh, and there's Mary Jo Solomon. Good.
Hey, Mary
Okay.
Jo.
Hi there, Ruth.
So they are experts at genealogy and technology. They're like tech experts. So so today what I'm doing is I'm using somebody else's. I'm using my third cousin's Zoom account because she's got unlimited, and she's tried to get me to be the host, but somehow couldn't do that. But I can share my screen anyway and go on with the presentation. And we're just waiting a couple more minutes till 1 o'clock to begin. So Mary Jo, do you see my screen?
Yes, I do.
Oh, good. Okay. All right.
So you have 15 people on here right now, right?
Okay. Yes, I guess so. Let me see.
Oh, it just dropped to 14.
Somebody. Well.
That's me. It turned me off.
Oh, there's Kathy Grabo.
Yeah.
Kathy, where are you?
Rotterdam.
Rotterdam. Okay, that's nearby.
Yep.
Excellent. Now, I see the picture of Kathy Grabo.
And her lips don't move.
No, I've heard her talking, though.
That's unusual.
She has a stationary picture of herself, that's why. somehow.
Doorbell.
Backwards.
Pat Snyder.
Oh, hi, Pat Snyder.
Hi.
Whereabouts are you?
Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I used to live down there in Willow Street.
Yeah, she told me last month.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
I lived with the Diller family.
uh-huh.
That's when I worked for Morton Salt Company. I was a sales representative for Morton Salt.
Yeah.
Okay, so stop sharing, screen share. Oh, okay. So we're up to 17 participants. That's good. Okay. Carol Fairbanks is here. Chuck is here. Chuck Latham. So you people, some of you now. Carol Fairbanks, you need to turn on your
Mike?
mic. Yeah.
See, it's Carol Burr. Carol's iPad is Carol Burr.
And Cindy.
Hey, Carol, you made it.
Yep.
Oh, here's John. Okay, good. Okay. Now, still got some people with their mics turned off. Okay.
Well, you want to have them off when you're doing your presentation so that we don't get all the background noise in the house.
I guess you're probably right. But if you want to ask a question, you got to turn it on, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So it looks like it's 1:01 p.m. I might as well get started, huh? There's 20 participants now. Okay. That sounds like a pretty good group.
Dave, what are you on? Are you on your computer or your
No,
iPad?
I'm on my computer.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Now let me just go back one here. There we are. Okay. All right. So I'm going to get rid of this. All right. Now. So can everybody see this? Destroy the brick wall?
Yes.
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 Oh, okay. So I'm going to play a little music for a second. And
Can you do a
then we'll-
slideshow with it?
Dave, you're not in present mode.
Can you do a
not in present
slideshow
mode?
and present it?
No, you go put present on your, yeah, on your PowerPoint. Slideshow?
Oh, yeah, I know that. Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, okay, that's all right. Okay, so here it is. Right. Oh, wait a minute. Right there. Okay. There we go.
You can have this on that. You can have him talking. You can see just David, or you can see everybody. I like to see everybody as many people.
Okay, so this is my Find the Grave profile. And for those of you who have used this, you know it's very easy to use. If you've never used it, you just go on to findthegrave.com and register. And then you can put pictures and information about people in graveyards all over the world. And so I've done a lot of that, about 4,000 entries, and I manage even more. And so this is the one as of July 2020. I've entered over 4,000. It says memorials can be preserved here while the tombstones erode away. All right, so what motivated this particular story today is that my mother's mothers, and here's a picture of my mother on the right here, 4 generations. My mother's on the right, her mother's on the left, her mother's father is sitting there, and my oldest sister. There's 4 generations there, okay? And his name was Martin Shoup, and I could never find out exactly where he came from in Germany. My mother said that she heard he came from Koblenz. In 2010, we traveled through Germany, and I stopped in Koblenz and nearby areas, and I didn't find any Shupes. So what happened was I sort of had a brick wall, and I'm sure many of you have brick walls that you can't get over. And so if you look at my pedigree here, you see that this is me on the left, my father up on top just to the right, and Ruth Van Patten is my mother. And if you look at, go all the way back to the 4th generation, you'll see that on top we have Pecks, and they, crossed with the Kramers. And then my father's mother was Sarah Mary McNeil, and the McNeils, to get her, crossed with the Reeds. And then down on my mother's side, you have Ruth Van Patten, her father William Van Patten, and then John Van Patten. Now John Van Patten crossed with the Grandies, Zerulia Grandi, and down at the bottom you have Martin Shoup. Now I can go back further on all of these, but at that time I couldn't get further on Martin Shoup, and I also had a problem with Mary Holland. Now, so if we expand Martin Shoup, you can see that I did eventually find who his parents were, but at that time I didn't. Now the problem was that I couldn't find the manifest for when he came from Germany. And so I was at a meeting, and at that meeting, Megan Smolniak, she's a Smolniak who married a Smolniak, was on Skype at the meeting. And a woman seemed to know her in the audience. And I talked to this woman afterward, and I said, I've got this brick wall about my German ancestry, the Shoups, and I just can't find them. And she says, well, you should talk to my husband, who's an expert on Germany. And so he was there, and I talked to him, and he said, well, send me the information on email, because I think I might be able to help you. And within a couple of days, he got back to me, and he says, I found your ancestors' manifest, and here it is. And if you look closely, you'll see that on the left, you'll see one reason I didn't find it, because the original manifest had an ink spill, and under that ink spill was the Shoups, but they spelled it differently. It was completely spelled differently, S-C-H-U-P-P rather than S-H-O-U-P. And anyway, this guy sent this back to me. His name was Tom Peters in New Jersey. And so I found out that they came from an area of the Mosel River Valley in Germany. That's the Mosel River runs into the Rhine. Now, is everybody able to hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody has a problem,
Yes.
just turn on your sound and let me know, okay? Or if you have any questions, okay? All right. So I decided, and I've done this quite a bit, that when I find an ancestor, I like to go to the country and to the town where they came from and see it. So I decided to go to Germany. Now, the situation was that I don't speak German, and I thought, well, I'll try to use Google Translate and look up some of these Shoups around Cohem, Germany, and try to find out if they know anything about their ancestry. And so I went to Google Translate and I printed out a little statement about what I'm doing, that I'm looking for the Shoups, and do they know where there's any burial sites, or do they have their ancestry done? And I put this on a blog on Ancestry and sent it in and said, you know, I'm looking for anybody around Cohem, Germany, who speaks German and English and could help me. So somebody got back to me and they said, you should contact Ursula. She speaks English and she also works for the archives over there. And so I did. And I sent her what I Google translated, and she said, you know, you better let me translate that because otherwise people are going to laugh at you because the translation wasn't that great. So she then translated for me, as you can see here. Here you see that my ancestor, my mother's grandfather, Martin Shoup, here's his birth and baptism record, and he was called Matthias Shoup, spelled completely differently. And you can see that he was registered as a Catholic in Gevenich, Rhineland, Prussia, which is right on the Mosel River Valley. I don't know who's calling. But... No, that's not me. Okay. Anyway, and you can see also that he married, or that his father was Peter Shoup, and his mother was Margarita Mais, M-A-I-S. And so I figured if I'm going to go to Germany, I'll look for those two names, Shoup and Mais, around Cohem on the Mosel River Valley. So since I was going to look up my mother's ancestry, I decided I would try to look up my father's mother's ancestry on the same trip. And my father's mother's ancestry is from Scotland. So what I did was I wanted to make it economical. So I decided to stay at youth hostels. I've stayed at youth hostels a lot in my past. And as a matter of fact, I met my wife in Australia at a youth hostel. So what I did was I went to the youth hostel organization for Scotland, and I pinpointed the places I want to go. And it was very simple. They charged me like $30, $35 a night, which usually had a common kitchen and allowed you to meet people that are traveling the same places. You can see here I landed at Edinburgh Airport and then traveled over through Stirling to Comrie-Croft, which was a great youth hostel right there. And then made my way all the way over here, took a ferry over to the island Isla and the Inner Hebrides, and then up to Glen Nevis and Inverness and back around here. So here I am in Scotland. And if you remember what the pedigree, my father's mother's mother was a Reed. And she descends from William Reed, who was brought over about 1750 or so by Lord Stirling. Now,
I guess he's jumping.
just before he came over, he married his bride, Catherine Campbell. So I'm also related to the Campbells. So in 1700s, it says the Reed ancestors ran a mill in Comrie on the Erne River. William Reed Esquire came to Basking Ridge, New Jersey to build a mill for Lord Stirling. That was a flax processing mill. And Lord Stirling he didn't officially have this designation. He thought he should, so he always called himself Lord Stirling, even though his real name was William Alexander. And he was a Scottish American major general during the American Revolution. He was considered male heir to the Scottish title Earl of Stirling, though Scottish lineage being the senior male descendant of the paternal grandfather who had died in 1640, and he sought the title. His claim was initially granted by this court in Scotland, but then was ultimately overruled. But he came over and was a general for George Washington. He married Catherine Campbell. Now, they came over, and eventually Philip Schuyler said, well, I want some mills built up in Saratoga. And so he brought him up here to from New Jersey to build mills. And he eventually settled in Argyle and bought some of the first patented plots in Argyle. Now here is his wife, Catherine Reed, Catherine Campbell Reed, tombstone at the old Scott Cemetery in Argyle. And this picture on the left is from a cemetery over in Comrie, Scotland. And you can see that in that cemetery, a lot of people put on their tombstone the symbols of the tools they used to use. And William Reed's father was one of them. Anyway, Catherine Campbell was from Broadalbin, Scotland, where there is another Campbell castle called Taymouth. It's on Loch Tay. While I was there, I decided I like to climb mountains, so I thought, okay, I'm going to climb the highest point in Great Britain, which is Ben Nevis. And Ben Nevis summit is apparently owned by the John Muir Trust. Scotland's very proud of John Muir, who came to America and became an amazing environmentalist, setting up Yosemite and other parks. Anyway, I stayed at the youth hostel at the base of this mountain. And here's the youth hostel. And here's the bridge across the river that's by the youth hostel so that you can go climb this mountain. I started climbing this mountain about 5 o'clock in the morning. The hike begins when you cross that bridge over the River Nevis. And the summit is way up in those clouds. You can't see it there. And it's a pretty tough climb. Here's some pictures of the climb. You can see that. Now let's see if I can get this out of the way. Yeah, good. So Ben Nevis is the highest point in the British Isles. It's in Inverness Shire. It is the collapsed dome of an ancient volcano. And it's all the remains of this Devonian volcano that met a cataclysmic end in the Carboniferous period about 350 million years ago. And once you get up some height, you can see the loch. Now, a loch is like a big lake, and they're all over Scotland. So this is Loch Linhay in the distant valley over there and over there, I guess. Okay, but on top of Ben Nevis, even in early October, was snow. And I was climbing with a raincoat and because it was raining. And I was one of the few people that had an umbrella, so a lot of people were kind of jealous of that. And here's the effect of the elevation collapsing the bottom. After I came down from Ben Nevis, I decided to go to the Campbell Castle. And the main Campbell Castle is at Inverary, which is in Argyllshire Shire on Loch Fyne. And it's the home of the Duke and Duchess of Argyll. Now, the Duke and Duchess live in one side of this castle, and the other side is for tourists. So when I was looking around the outside of the castle, I saw a woman, this one, and I said to her, she seemed to be trimming some vegetation. I said, "You look like a local." I said, "Way up over on here on top of the mountain behind, there's a tower." And I thought if I could get up to that tower, I could get a good picture up there. And so I asked her if she was related to the Campbells. I said, "I'm a little bit related." And she said, "Well, no, I'm not related." And but she says, "I married one." And so I said, "Well, who did you marry?" And she said, "She married the Duke." So this was Duchess Eleanor Cadbury, who married the Duke, the 13th Duke of Argyll. So I had a nice chat with the Duchess. When the Duke married her, he called her his Cadbury Rose because she's from the Cadbury chocolate fortune. And here's the Campbell tartan. And it's also the black watch tartan used by
What do you want to say?
military units.
Yes, I did it fine. Thank you. Love you, dear.
So here's another shot of the castle. You can see the little tower up there. I did get up to the tower.
Send.
What's interesting is when you get inside and you climb the stairs, they have plaques of earlier dukes and lords, and many of them have bad endings. Like this one here is beheaded in 1685, and several of the early ones were beheaded because they were fighting all the time. And here you see the inside of the castle with all the military paraphernalia. They were often fighting other clans, especially the McDonald's. And if you're a Campbell, you don't eat at McDonald's, you know that. The guy on the horse here is Robert the Bruce, who is a Scottish hero who became king and won independence from England in 1314. Now,
Yeah, cool if you want me to.
that was in 2012. And in 2015 and 2016, we did cruises over in Europe. And so I put this picture in because in 2015, we took a cruise on the Royal Princess cruise ship and stopped in Scotland again. And since I had met the Duchess of Argyll, I decided I would like to try to meet the Duke. So when we went into, I took my wife this time, and we went into the castle, and I said, any chance that the Duke is around today? I'm a little bit related to the Campbells. I'd like to meet him. And they said, "Oh, really? You go look around the castle, and if we see the Duke, we'll let you know." And so pretty soon somebody came and said, "The Duke is in the gift shop." So I went down to the gift shop, and sure enough, here he is. And he's got a name printed on that says Duke. So, let's see. So anyway, I got acquainted with him a little bit and had a picture with him. And he also, to make a little extra money there in the castle, he will print out your coat of arms if you have one for your name. And I do. And so he printed out this coat of arms for Peck, which tells you about the history of the Pecks. And now this Torquil, he's the 13th Duke of Argyll. He printed this out for me in 2015, and I have it home in a little frame. Now, the other thing is that I want to ask you is, what unusual athletic sport do you think Torquil Campbell is one of the prime leaders of? And I'll tell you that it's polo, but it's not water polo and it's not horse polo. This is elephant polo. And here's Torquil Campbell riding on an elephant at Tiger Tops Lodge in Chitwan, Nepal. And that's where the championships are held, in Nepal. And fortunately, I guess this sport has been stopped as of 2017 because of complaints about animal cruelty to the elephants. But it's an amazing kind of sport, and it's amazing what royal people participate in. Anyway, if you got that kind of money, I guess. Here's the Argyle family connection. Torquil is related to the royal family, of course, and what happened here that relates to the Argyle is that the fourth daughter of Queen Victoria, who was Louise, was married to John Campbell, who was the 9th Duke of Argyle. So she became a Duchess of Argyle. So the daughter of the Queen, Queen Victoria, was a Duchess of Argyle. And they spent time in Canada. And her name was Caroline Alberta, Louisa Caroline Alberta. And Louise spent time in Canada, and Alberta and Lake Louise are two places named for her in Canada. She advanced the arts and education up there in Canada in the late 1800s. Anyway, another stop we made on this 2015 cruise was over near Invergordon, and visited the Cotter Castle. And the Cotter Castle is another Campbell Castle. There's 3 or 4 Campbell Castles in Scotland. It's not too far from Inverness. Here's a little bit of the history of Princess Louise, who became Duchess of Argyle. She was Duchess in 1871 to 1914. And as I said, places are named for her in Canada. Since I was into genealogy and I visited the Campbell Castles, we decided that we would stop at Killam Church, where most of the Dukes of Argyle are buried in this little mausoleum behind the church in Killam. So the mausoleum is in this building here. And this is a very old church across the Firth of Clyde from Greenock, Scotland. And here's one of the labeling, one of the inscriptions on one of the dukes. And you can see here that they mention Louise Caroline Alberta, who was a daughter of Victoria and Prince Albert. Okay. In that same cemetery, looking around, we happened to come across Elizabeth Blackwell. Elizabeth Blackwell spent most of her time in America, I think. She was a British physician, the first woman to receive a medical degree in the United States from Geneva Medical College in upstate New York. She created a medical school for women in the late 1860s, eventually returning to England and setting up a private practice. Blackwell published several books over the course of her career, including her autobiography, Pioneer Work in Opening the Medical Profession to Women. She helped several women become outstanding doctors. The top of her symbol here is a Celtic cross representing the sun and the cross. I guess I don't show that part. Anyway, from there, I took a ferry across the water to Islay. Now, Islay is the lowest island in the Inner Hebrides, not too far from Ireland. You can see the little car I was driving, this little yellow Citroen, right in front of Simpson's malt truck. And that's what the main product is in Islay. which is whiskey, various kinds of whiskey. And when I went to Isla, I was keeping in mind some of my ancestral names, which from my father's mother, who was 100% Scottish, in her ancestry, you had names like McNeil, MacArthur, McDougall, Campbell, McDunn, Gillies, McEachran, and so on. So that's what I'm going to be looking at for over here. And of course, on Isla, you have these highland cattle and very narrow roads. And here's a tombstone to Robert McEachran. I descend from the McEachrans from the Cosuna Lake area of Washington County. And as you travel across Isla, you will come to quite a few standing stones. Now, here's one in Ballinaby, Scotland. They are Neolithic, about 4,000 years old, from the Bronze Age. The flat surface usually points toward a significant feature on the horizon. So they were used to find your way to various places. Duncan Campbell is my ancestor, my 5th great-grandfather, and he was born in Ballinaby on Isla. Most of my Scottish ancestors come from Isla.
Deceased.
And while there are some people with the same names that I met, like Catherine MacArthur. There's Elizabeth McNeil Gillies Fraser. Here's Evan McNeil.
Oh, that's his wife.
Aikenhead. And here's Richard Glenn.
No, that's
at
Elizabeth
the
McNeil
Sterling Castle Hostel
Gillies
where I stayed.
Fraser, wherever that is.
And I descend from the Glens as well. Alexander Glenn, if you know about the Glenn Sanders mansion in Scotia, Alexander Glenn, he's an ancestor of mine, and he bought that area and settled there, bought it from the Indians, I guess. And Scotia, he called it Nova Scotia, and it was then shortened to just Scotia, but the Glen name has been, passed on to Glenville and Glens Falls and many other places in this part of New York State. Okay, so that was Scotland. I came back to Edinburgh Airport and flew down to Germany to check out my German ancestors. So I landed in Frankfurt October 11th, 2012. And went from Frankfurt, rented a car, and drove it over here to the Mosel River Valley. And here you can see Cohem, which is the name I had from the manifest. And here's Koblenz that we searched up there before. But Koblenz is at the junction of the Rhine and the Mosel River. And fortunately in Germany, I didn't have to spend any money on accommodation because one of our au pairs, we adopted 2 children from Russia. And when we were both working, we had au pairs from Europe. And one of them, Sylvia, who originally was from Bosnia. Anyway, she she moved to, she got a job in
Croatia,
Luxembourg here, and lived in this little town of Ach, A-A-C-H. So she said, hey, I've got a big apartment. You can just stay there, and you can go out and look around, do your genealogy while I'm going to work and so on. So that's what I did. So here's some of my Shoup relatives that I tracked down in America. Some of the Shoups spelled their names differently because at one time, this Martin Shoup had a cousin who was also named Martin Shoup, and they started getting their mail confused. So the other Martin Shoup changed his name to SHOOP. And so you had some of those around Amsterdam and Gloversville. Now, the names I wanted to look for in Germany were ancestors of Martin Shoup. And the manifest said that Martin Shoup's parents and his uncle and so on all came over together, and that they descend from the Shoup spelled this way. And Peter here married Margaret Nice, M-A-I-S. So I'm going to be looking for that. And here you will see another
Nice. German.
another brick wall right here. This is my Ireland brick wall, Michael Holland.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of Hollands, and I haven't been able to find his ancestry. And I kind of think that that's going to be a brick wall that I won't
was mice.
Get over. Okay, so here's the Mosel River Valley. It's a nice winding river valley. Along this river is a terrific bike path. And along this river are a lot of vineyards. And here's Gevenich, where they came from, and the wife came from Lutzeroth. So what I did was I went on the
Oh,
internet,
you're here?
and I typed in
Okay, I see you. Yep.
Das
I'll be there.
Telefonbuch in German. And if you do that, you can get names from the telephone books of various towns, and they will list the name you're looking for, all the people with the name you're looking for in that town, and how far they are from the center of town. So
Be interested in this.
I started driving around looking for the Shoups and the Mice families. And in the meantime, here's the vineyards. Very beautiful towns. This is Cohem, which is a very famous tourist town. Got a little castle there. And did I find any Shoups? Well, here you go. At left here is Hugo and Crystal Shoup. I came to their house. I showed them my translation. They said, "Oh, you're a cousin from America. Come on in." So they would, get out their photo albums and show it to me. And they didn't speak very good English. And I, here's the signs. And I found Bridget Mice and Michael Mice, and talked to them about the ancestors. Now they're probably very distant related, and I tried to ask them. Well, here's the translation I gave people. Anyway, I asked them to send me information, but they're so distant related that I probably won't hear from them. Anyway, this area is very close to Trier, Germany, which is right on the border of Luxembourg. And in Trier, one of the famous spots is Porta Negra, the Black Gate. And it's the oldest city in Germany, once known as Roma Secunda, in other words, called the Second Rome, founded in 400 BC by the Celts and taken over by the Romans about 100 BC. Now, when I was staying in the town of Aachen with Sylvia, there's Sylvia, she was into her meetups with her friends in Luxembourg. And so she took me along, and we visited a town called Vianden in Luxembourg, where they were having a walnut festival. Now, the interesting thing about her friends, there were like 13 friends in the group or something, and every one of them was from a different country, but they all spoke pretty good English. On that tour, I also stopped at the Luxembourg American Cemetery, where I have a second cousin who was killed at the Battle of the Bulge. And the supervisor of the cemetery was happy to see me. Apparently doesn't get that many visitors. So he took me out to this tombstone. He took some sand and he rubbed over the name so that when I took a picture of it, it would show up. And as soon as I got the picture, he took some water and he cleaned it off. Now here's some more shoops. This one looks a bit like my mother, so does this one. And here's a couple more. Andreas and Birgit, we looked at their ancestors a little bit, and it looks like they probably are related. Okay. And this gentleman here was I think the father of Bridget we just saw. And he was doing some landscaping. He wasn't too sure he wanted me to get his picture. He didn't speak English.
That says M-A-K-S.
I did get a picture, but okay. Now here is the pedigree
Excuse
of
me,
Andreas
Chuck,
that
could
I
you
was just
please
talking about. Who
mute
comes
your
down from
mic?
Matthias Shoup,
Oh, yeah.
who's probably related to my Matthias Shoup. In Trier, I was able to, let me just check one thing here. Yeah, we're at number 46, okay. Let me go back to this, where is it here? Okay. So this woman, Ursula, who got back to me on the blog about Germany, actually had worked in the archives in Trier. And she translated some books and so on that had information about my ancestors, including Margaret and Peter, who were the parents of Martin. So that was a good stop. And Ursula was a terrific help in doing my research in Trier, Germany, about the Mosel River Valley area. Okay, so now I know the ancestors of my mother's grandfather. And on that same pedigree, I said before that Michael Holland here is still a brick wall. And, you know, I'll research that again in a couple of years, but for the time being, I can't find any more about him. Now, in 2016, we were back in Europe with a cruise from Copenhagen on Holland America around the North Sea, Shetland Islands, Scotland, Ireland, and England. So on that cruise, we checked out a few more ancestral places. For example, I descend from the Bratt family of Norway. And so we visited Fredrikstad. The cruise ship stopped in Oslo. We rented a car, drove down to Fredrikstad, and visited where my seventh great grandfather, Arent Bratt, came from. He came on the ship, the Rensselaerwick, at the request of the Van Rensselaers. He was one of the first settlers in Schenectady and had lot 1 just outside of Schenectady Stockade. His daughter, Affie Bratt, married my sixth great grandfather, Klaus Van Petten, who was the original immigrant of the Van Petten or Van Patten family. We've also been there as well in 2010. Now, my fourth paternal great granddad is William Ross. And he's thought to be from the Highlands of Scotland. William and his wife, Mary Reed, are buried at the Ross Coffinger Cemetery, which is an overgrown cemetery on Grange Hall Road in Bacon Hill. Here I met Emily Ross in Dornoch Castle, and that's in Ross and Cromarty Shire, north of Invergordon, Scotland. I also descend from the Beatties. And this is my fourth great granddad, Captain James Beatty, who was born, and it says right on his tombstone in Argyll that he was born at Enniskillen, Ireland, and died in 1802. His wife, Catherine de Jersey, was a French Huguenot who lived to 1827. Her stone hasn't been found, so just his stone is at that cemetery. So, Enniskillen, I figure I got to go there. So we stopped in Northern Ireland. What's the main city in Northern Ireland? I mean, okay. Anyway, we went to hire a cab to take us to where we wanted to get our rental car. Well, the cab driver said, "You know what?" He said, "I really like to get out of town today. This is in Belfast." And he said, "I'd like to get out of town, and I'll turn off the meter, and I'll take you wherever you want to go. I know my way." So we were lucky there. He took us to Enniskillen, which is, I think, a good hour and a half away or something. And I had previously written a historian at Enniskillen, and so I met up with this historian, Frank McHugh, and he said that my ancestor, Captain James Beatty, was with the 27th Regiment of Foot in the 7 Years' War, and then he stayed in America, right as the Enniskillen Castle on the Earn River, and there's all sorts of regimental objects in the museum of the Royal Enniskillen Fusiliers and the 5th Royal Enniskillen Dragoon Guards. All right, closer to home, my Peck ancestors married into the Kramers. The Kramers married into the Brisbanes. The original Kramer in America, I think, is Conrad Kramer. He married Margaret Brisbane. Well, Margaret Brisbane came from Scotland, and the area is called Largs. So we drove across Scotland to Largs at one stop on our cruise. And to the left, it shows the relationship of myself to Margaret. She's like my fourth great grandmother. So we drove around Largs. Here's the Brisbane house. The Brisbane family was quite well known. One of them went to Australia. His name was Sir Thomas Brisbane, and he was governor of New South Wales back in 1821 to 1825, when a lot of prisoners were being sent to Australia, and he didn't think he's going to have enough room for them in Sydney and down in Tasmania. So he went north a little bit, and he started a settlement that is now called Brisbane. So one of my relatives most likely had something to do with the establishment of Brisbane, Australia. Okay, Henry Wagman. As some of you might know, Pat and Joe Peck live on Wagman Ridge Road near Saratoga Lake. And
You know where that is?
the Pecks in Saratoga County descend from Henry Wagman. Henry Wagman married first a woman named Mary White, and he is buried in Dutchess County. Now, he apparently is from Zurich, Switzerland. So on that same trip, we flew down to Switzerland, and I had done a little research about the Wagmans in Switzerland, and I found one, Heinrich Wagman, who in the 16th century did all the paintings on this bridge. This is the oldest covered bridge in Europe, and it's in Lucerne. he did all the paintings on this. Now, if you look at the bridge, up in the top, there are triangular arches with a painting on each side. And there are 2 of these bridges. Now, here is the top of the bridge with all these old historic paintings. He lived from 1557 to 1626. Some of the paintings were destroyed in the 1993 fire. Now there's a sprinkler system. Now, I happened to see somebody giving a tour of these paintings. Now, when I went there, I thought there was one painting by Heinrich Wagman. So I asked the tour guide, I said, "Where's the Wagman painting?" And she said, "Oh, they're all by Heinrich Wagman." So I was really surprised about that. And I started listening to her. She had a couple of clients that she was explaining the bridge and the paintings to. And so I thought, oh, this is interesting. And after a few minutes, she said, "You know, these people are paying for this." So I had to leave them alone then. Anyway, the other bridge, the first bridge is called the Capel Bridge because it goes by a chapel or something. And this second bridge, which is further downstream, is called the Spurebrook or Spure Bridge. And spure apparently means chaff or garbage. So I guess you can see the water flows very rapidly here. And this bridge, when it was originally made, had that name because you could dump your garbage off this bridge and it would be carried out of town. So that's the end of my talk. Thanks for watching. I hope I inspired you to see where some of your ancestors used to live. So if there are any questions, now let me see if I can get back to more people. Let's see. Let me see. No.
Again.
I think you need to unmute them, David. Or maybe Sharon can do it.
I thought there was a thing here that made it so I could go to gallery.
Oh, now I'll stop screen
Oh,
share,
there's
stop
John.
share.
Hey.
Okay. So if anybody's got any questions or comments, you got to turn on your mics, I guess.
Yes, I can.
Hey, Dave, it's
Yes.
John.
Hi, John.
Looks like we're related on other lines as well as the Peck line.
Okay.
The Campbell line. I'm descended from the 7th Earl of Argyll.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So
I also have Beatties.
Oh, you have Beatties as well?
Yeah, and they came from Scotland before they went over to Northern Ireland, of course.
Excellent. Okay. So I'll have to take you over to Scotland and meet my friend Torquil, the 13th Earl. Okay, good. Any other comments or how many people have been to Scotland?
I have.
I have.
Oh, you have?
I have.
We too.
I've also been to Cockham.
Oh, you've been to Cockham. Okay.
Yep.
Excellent. Were you on a cruise or driving around?
It was a river cruise.
Oh, river cruise. Okay.
Yeah, and my family came from that area as well, from Palatinate.
Well, I guess.
And also Alsace.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to upgrade you from your 4th cousin status to 1st cousin, I guess. Oh, there's Jenny. Jenny. Hi, Jenny.
Hi, I've been here.
Okay. So Jenny, you know, she organizes the programs pretty much. So in September, Jenny, have you got Greg Vitch to?
No, Greg does not want to do a Zoom presentation. He's going to wait.
Okay.
Joe Craig said he would do it.
Oh, Joe Craig.
Yes, and he's going to talk about 18th century medicines, I recall.
Oh, 18th century.
Revolutionary War times.
Excellent. Okay, fantastic. Good. All right.
That will be another experiment since he hasn't done Zoom before.
Okay, well, so how did this go? The one problem is when you can't hear the audience, you don't know, you don't get any feedback. So you don't know whether you're talking loud enough or talking too loud or whatever.
Also, Dave, I think it's really important before somebody begins the program to tell everybody to mute their mics.
Actually, I think Dave can
talking and
mute
talking
everybody.
on the telephone and
Right.
things like that. So
Okay.
that's important.
Yes. So, okay.
We learn these things as we go along.
But the problem is that I can't mute the sound around my mic.
No, you can't mute you.
Right. So therefore, when the phone rang, you heard it.
Yeah, but we don't need to hear everybody else's conversations while you're trying to talk to us.
Now,
Right.
were you hearing some other conversations?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
There's hardly anybody was muted, so.
Okay. Well, I hope people were saying, isn't this fantastic? Isn't he fantastic?
It was interesting. It was fun.
Yeah, it was good.
Good.
Enjoyed it.
Great.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know where we're going to.
I'm seeing somebody's hand now.
Watching a video. We can all do that. Yeah.
So has anybody got any travel plans?
Oh, don't we wish?
Yeah, really. Not until this thing's over with.
Our last cruise was to Antarctica. It was so fantastic that we set up another one to go to Greenland.
Nice.
But that got canceled.
Oh, it's too bad.
We can use that money and to go like a year or two later. Yeah. And has anybody ever heard of what is it called? Green Tree Club? So we just heard of a Green Tree Club. Now you wouldn't believe this.
David, it's Evergreen.
Oh, Evergreen. Okay, yeah, Evergreen. Okay. So the Evergreen Club, you're not going to believe this because you join this club and then you stay at people's homes for $20, including breakfast.
That's $20 a couple.
$20 a couple. Now, I thought that they left off a zero or something, but that's the deal. So we did a snowbird tour last year, went down through the Carolinas and the Florida and Alabama and back, and we stayed at 3 or 4 of those places, and they all turned out to be terrific, all interesting. They're people who like to meet fellow travelers, and you got to be over 50, and so anyway, that's another option. So we have a board meeting coming up September 1st, right?
Right.
Okay, and that's at Peck's house at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, was it? Yep, I think so.
Yep.
Okay. And I signed up a few of my relatives for memberships to add to the membership numbers. So now we're up to about 260 members or something. And the nice thing about Zoom is when you got 260 members, a lot of them are from out of state. And with Zoom, they can participate.
So how many people do we have today watching you?
Okay, let me just look. I'll look at the top here.
There's 16 right now.
16 now?
Right now.
Okay.
It was 20 when we started.
Right. Okay, so about 20. Yep.
So we still don't get as many people as we do for a live thing.
Apparently not, and one reason is everybody doesn't have computers. Everybody, I attended a Zoom program, and they requested everybody to RSVP. So I think that's a good idea. I think if you RSVP and when you get the notice and you say, yes, I'm going to attend, then you're more likely to attend. If you don't say you're going to attend and the time comes up and you got something else going on, you just won't bother.
Mm.
Yeah.
It would be nice that for the people who don't live near you, if you could have Zoom at your regular meetings or
Oh, yes.
things similar so that we can join in also.
That's a good idea. Now Chuck, is Chuck still here?
Dave, there's a extra charge.
I'm here.
There's
I
an
had my
extra
mic.
charge to Zoom a live meeting.
Oh, there is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is Ruth. She's the
Yeah.
genealogy expert for New Jersey. Actually,
But
for North America.
maybe with Chuck recording the sessions, they could at least come back and see it later on if we had it posted somehow.
That's a good idea.
I'm told that that's a problem.
Is it? I don't know. I've never tried it, so.
Yeah, when they tried it with Brookside, they crashed something.
Oh dear. That's why I never got to see that video.
Now, up in the right-hand corner of my screen, it says REC. Does that mean it's recording?
It says it's recording.
Sharon Peck is recording this.
Does that happen with everybody? Is everybody recording this?
No, I think it's.
No, it's just saying, it's just letting you know that it's being recorded.
The host is probably recording it.
Exactly.
Oh.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Down at the bottom of my computer, there is a record button.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, if you wanted to record it yourself, you could
you
do
can
that.
record it yourself. I had that on the bottom of my screen, but I wanted to record it and then I lost it, but now it's back, so I could record this part. Okay, so let me see. I will show self-view. There I am. Okay.
Well, I
So
really
anyway,
appreciate your offering this as a Zoom program, because I've only been able to come to one meeting in the fall, your general meeting, the big one. And living in Massachusetts, although right now I'm up in Maine, I usually don't get to come, even though you've had some really exciting sounding programs. So thank you very much.
Yes, yes, I'm very happy that you were able to come. And so have you been to the fantastic botanical garden that's, what is it, Booth Bay or something?
Oh, yes.
Yes, that is one terrific garden that was started by people donating and mortgaging their homes to start a botanical garden, and it's turned out terrific.
It's wonderful. Yeah, really beautiful.
Okay, is there any other comments or questions or? Okay, so I guess we'll conclude the meeting, huh?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Great, Dave.
Hey, bye-bye.
Thanks
Bye-bye
for
now.
inviting me, Dave.
You're welcome, Ruth. Thanks for coming. Is Mary Jo still here?
No,
Good.
she had another Zoom meeting to go to.
Oh, okay, very good. Okay.
Good show, Dave.
Thank you, John. Thanks for participating.
Good.
Okay. Have fun in San Diego and everywhere else.
Right, thanks very much.
Yeah, okay. Bye-bye now.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Sure, can I just end the meeting for all?